Okay, well,
Whatever.
we're going one way or another. Here we go.
Whatever happens, happens. Uh-oh. This feels like a B-side. What are you going to do?
I'm going to move into the country. I'm going to eat me a lot of peaches. A lot of them. Lots of peaches.
Welcome to your
Welcome to
President's Day
B-side, which
B-side.
means beer side.
Your side.
And our first recorded B-side.
Oh, we are on video, aren't we?
Now,
watch the
That's
band
why we
go
did the
by.
makeup. That's why we had makeup come in
She was
Makeup.
aggressive
with the
foundation.
eyeliner. Yeah.
Today we are having Mexican style lager from Center Point Brewing Company. You want to switch over to my camera there, Big Gravy?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
This is El Gato. El Gato. Mexican style lager.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, but Center Point, get down there. It's a pretty good little brewery. If
Yeah.
you're in the,
You've actually been to the brewery.
if you're in the Indianapolis area. I have to say, Mexican style lagers are one of my very favorite styles of beer. Like, it sounds like a weird thing to be like, you really just like Mexican style lagers, but I do. They always hit the spot for me. So, and I picked this up based on that and decided to bring it today.
Okay. No comment. Okay. That's great. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so moving on. Today is our President's Day B-side. We're going to be talking about all the problems of
presidential
our country, so buckle
Nope.
in.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, we are.
Oh,
doing
well,
it
you're,
right now.
you're doubling down.
We're not doing
You're
it.
ready to.
We're
I
not
just.
doing that. We don't talk politics
I just
here.
want to do that. Yeah. Sorry. Just had to get that out.
Steven Tyler showed up, which is great.
Just had to get that out.
Nice. I liked it.
My microphone's a little loose though. So
Yeah. All right, that's my fault. I put them
It all
together.
came apart. You had a hot moment there before we came live.
Did I?
Ooh. You were spilling stuff all over the place. It was-
Guys, I'm time traveling. I'm not sure what's going on.
Weekend Ben's here. Weekend Ben here for the B-side.
Happy President's Day, jerks.
Sriracha.
Sláinte.
We didn't do that.
We didn't.
Yeah. Salud, as they would say in Spanish.
Salud.
Salud.
Salud. Go ahead.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go with this one? President's Day?
Yeah.
Particularly celebrating like George Washington's birthday and Abraham Lincoln's. They're both around this time.
Late February.
Yeah, and then they kind
they're
of
both
settled
late
into
February.
this date. You got a
Yeah.
favorite president?
Yes and no. Do you have one?
I like Taft because he was fat and got stuck in a bathtub.
You're talking about huge presidents. William Taft.
He wasn't that big by today's standards.
Yeah.
6'1"?
420.
Was he that big?
No, I'm making that
I was
up.
gonna say I don't think he was that big. No, I think he was like 280. I'm like that's a
big
little
dude.
It is, but I'm bigger than that.
They might have had really tiny
That's a
tubs
little
back
tub
then.
if he got stuck in a
they were
bathtub.
tiny. Have you? Totally off topic. Have you been to Fenway Park or Wrigley Field for a baseball game?
Wrigley Field.
Okay.
Yeah,
Those are tiny seats.
those are tiny seats.
100 plus years ago, they were not making our
They
size
were
seats
not-
for
no,
baseball.
and that's the
games.
same
And
for
so,
planes. They're still making planes for people in the 1950s.
I feel like bathtubs are
Yeah.
about the same. Well, now the planes are an economical choice. That's like,
But that's just dumb.
Cramming
Like it's
people in.
it's sizism.
So here's the thing. I don't like any president, really. But that's my own.
Don't like. Do you dislike a president then? If you don't like a president, can you
I
dislike?
dislike lots of presidents. I do appreciate what Teddy Roosevelt did for the national park system.
Yes.
So
yeah.
his implementation of the national park system to preserve land, even though other presidents have tried to undo that over time, they haven't accomplished that. And so his initiative to preserve land is probably just by default, as a nature person who enjoys being outdoors and enjoys national parks and even state parks. I really appreciate Teddy Roosevelt. So I guess by default, he's probably my favorite. There you go.
Yeah. I know there's so many presidents that I know next to nothing of, and could not could not recite all of the presidents.
Oh, I could.
And there are presidents you could ask me about that I'd be like, I didn't even know that person was a president. Like, so there's a lot of.
Let's do this.
No.
Okay.
You can throw it out there, but I'm sure my answer is still the same.
I was just going to make up a real president and a fake president and get you to guess which one was the real president.
Oh, I think I could probably do that.
Okay. Well, we don't have to do it.
Oh, okay. But I think there are key presidents who did notable things for us that I'm proud of. That I'm like, no, that's the direction our country. Like, I would want any country to go in. Abraham Lincoln, like, although while the Civil War maybe wasn't started with the whole premise or intuition to end slavery, it happened in that space. So he was the man at the time.
He was the man at the right time.
Yes, right.
He wasn't the man at the time.
Right.
His preceding president had written so many laws out of ineptitude that really set the bar for Abraham Lincoln to be a superstar. However, he was like not a great president. Like,
right, correct.
We see him as the great emancipator because we conveniently forget that like he had 39 like Indians hung.
Yes.
Like, and so like,
yeah,
it's we like to bend the narrative in history to be able to see what we want to see as like, oh, this is a man who needs to be admonished and like he's this great person. It's like, nah, he's another sociopath like every other American president.
Yes, right. So. Yes. So something, but him, JFK and his, like I think his assassination
saved his legacy.
Well,
that's not where you were going.
I think his assassination was prompted by some of the civil rights that he was trying to back.
Go ahead, finish your thoughts. I have thoughts on JFK.
Yeah, I do too. But but I think his attempt at some of that work. I think he was a sleazeball, like most of the presidents, all U.S. presidents probably were.
I gotta tell you, this is not where I thought this B-side was gonna go, but I love everywhere it's going.
It's presidential. But I think he had enough policy in place to help create equality for blacks in our country that I think led to his assassination. I think he was a threat to the system. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of other things that I would put him in the other column for, but the movement towards equality, I think, at any point is a movement in the right direction.
Sure, and I agree with that, and I hope that is what he was doing. I think his, a lot of people say because of the Bay of Pigs invasion, because of the Cuban embargo, like, had he lived, he probably would have gone down as one of the worst presidents in U.S. history.
Yeah.
His assassination romanticized him and Camelot and all that, so everybody thinks he was great because he was the youngest president ever.
Right.
But
beautiful. He was this.
Yeah.
Supposedly was beautiful.
Well, I guess. I mean,
I don't see it.
I think he
had big puffy hair.
I think he was beautiful by proxy by the women
he wasn't old. Right? He wasn't old. Yeah. He didn't have a receding hairline.
He was early 40s. Yeah.
Sure, that makes him good looking. Okay.
Wow, that means we're good looking. So, hey, Slancha, congratulations. You're presidentially good looking. No, if you believe Frank Sheeran's autobiography, JFK was killed because of his brother Bobby. Because Bobby was coming after the laborers union. And when he was trying to squeeze Jimmy Hoffa, Frank Sheeran in his autobiography says he delivered the guns in Baltimore that were being driven to Texas, where Lee Harvey Oswald was supplied those guns to kill the president because they wanted to put Robert Kennedy on notice of leave the laborers union alone. And instead of killing Robert, they just killed the president.
Yeah.
And then Jack Ruby, who was a laborers union member, was the one to kill Lee Harvey Oswald to silence the rest of the chain of custody for the guns that came.
Right. Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, granted, that's all hearsay, but like my
right.
whole thing is like, it's another puppet in
Yeah.
another position. And so hope you enjoyed your cigars with Sinatra because you died because your brother was aggressive
Yeah.
as the district attorney or attorney general. Anyways, not about that. President's Day, you say. It's President's Day. So I have a funny President's Day thing. I have a friend from college named Beth who does not send Christmas cards, does not send New Year's cards. She sends President's Day cards. She loves the presidents. She has always been a big history person. She's been part of the Historical Preservation Society for Covington, Kentucky, and Cincinnati, Ohio, and has named every one of her pets after a president. So, and it's so funny, but like every February, I know I'm going to get a Happy President's Day card from Beth.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so it's it always makes me smile when I'm like, oh yeah, she just loves the presidents. So yeah, that's one of my big President's Day takeaways.
That is, yeah. I don't know if I have one. It's not it doesn't have much significance.
No, not at all. I do have a funny President's Day memory where my niece's birthday, she lives in North Carolina, is in February, and it's around President's Day. And so my parents were driving down to see them from Indiana to North Carolina, and they were going to see my brother and his family for my niece's birthday. And they were listening to some random like radio show in like Virginia or West Virginia or something like that. And they called me one day out of the blue. And I was like, hey, what's going on? And my mom just says, who was the first president to wear pants? And I was like, Andrew Jackson. She was like, are you sure? I was like, I'm 100% positive. She was like, okay, bye. Hangs up. And I'm like, well, I don't know what the heck that was about, but cool. So she calls me back like half an hour later and she's like, you were right. It was Andrew Jackson. And I was like, what are you doing? She's like, we're driving through the mountains and we're listening to this radio show and there was a contest. They're doing like President's Day trivia. And the question was, who was the first president to ever wear pants?
What did George Washington wear?
They all wore knickers. They all wore knickers. And Andrew Jackson, our 10th president, was the first one to wear long slacks. And I don't know why I know that. I watch a lot of History Channel. And like when the President's Day weekends roll around, I watch those because I want to know what old sociopaths look like, I guess. And so I'm just like, wow, cool. But I have this weird Rain Man presidential knowledge of like, I don't know why I know what I know, but I know it. And she's like, no, you were right. It was Andrew Jackson. I was like, yeah, I knew it. I just don't know how.
Wow.
So
I would have said George Washington. I'd be like,
No.
George Washington wore pants.
no, they wore knickers.
He didn't wear a dress.
In fact, do you know, fun presidential knowledge,
No.
here we go.
No,
You
is
probably
the
don't know
answer.
this. Do you know, you don't know, why the Democratic Party's animal is a donkey?
No.
Okay. I didn't know how long that was I was in for it though. Because when Andrew Jackson was in power, when he was running for president, this guy, his Republican opponent said, "You're a jackass." And he said, "Sure I am."
Yeah. Okay.
So much so that he leaned into it to be like, not only am I a jackass, it's now the emblem of the party.
That takes away the power. It kind of takes away that you're like, oh, what I intended as an insult.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
It's like, oh boy, wow, he's proud of that. I thought I was being facetious.
So why the elephant?
Because they think they're unstoppable.
Oh.
The elephant has great power. It can run over trees. The Republican Party thought that they were unstoppable. And that's how that became the Republican Party's national emblem.
Hasn't changed.
We're not going to talk politics on this podcast.
Jackson, 8th president?
I thought he was 10th. He might be 8th. I'm bad about the succession of presidents.
Yeah, I would love to learn that, and I've said to myself, like, you should take some time and go back and actually learn the presidents and their succession. That was something that they tried to do my senior year of like, you need to know the presidents 1 through 42 or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
And it Didn't happen.
Who's the only two-term non-consecutive president?
Is that FDR?
Nope. No, he was like an 8-term president. Where they
Right.
were like, hold on,
Right.
he's kind of king
And
now.
I thought he gapped. I thought he gapped one,
Never
but it
gapped.
wasn't him.
Nope. Yeah, because if I remember right, I think FDR had 4 terms.
Yeah.
Where then they said,
FDR,
no, we
Teddy,
can't do that anymore.
not Truman. I don't know.
Grover Cleveland.
Cleveland, Grover.
He was president, lost the presidential nod,
Yeah,
and then re-ran and got elected again. Yeah.
What was Van Buren known for?
He was probably most known for the Van Buren boys from Seinfeld, where George decided to join the Van Buren gang, which was number 8. And so they were like, this was their gang symbol, was the number 8, because they were the Van Buren boys.
I do not remember that episode.
Martin Van Buren is actually best known because he was probably our first homosexual president. He was the first president to ever go into office who never had a first lady. He was actually our only president to ever go into office who never had a first lady, but he had a super confidant. I don't know how I know this. Like I do. Like I'm so positive I know this. But he, there was no first lady, but he had like a male confidant who accompanied him to everything. And like looking back on it, they were like, yeah, he was probably our first homosexual president.
Wow.
And our only homosexual, well, I don't know, because there's some stuff about Reagan and first Bush out there with the milk carton.
Come on,
kids.
stop. Stop.
Yeah,
Don't.
that's pretty gritty. But look it up on your own, gang. That is, oof. That is, and I will tell you, that is punishing reading, so tread lightly. Because that is not terrific.
The only president without a first lady, right?
Only one, yeah.
Yeah, only one. Not just the first one, but the only
Unless you believe the movie American President, where Michael Douglas his wife had died.
Oh yeah,
But
there was that
fiction.
one. There was that.
That was all fiction.
parallel
So I'm not
episode.
sure that one really counts.
Dave, you remember Dave?
No. What was that?
Dave was
Dave's not here, man.
it's where the president was either shot or got severely sick.
Oh.
And they found a doppelganger to fill in his place, and he was a completely different personality. Looked exactly like him.
No.
To the fact that the first president, the president's wife, thought so too.
I don't remember this.
Sigourney
at all.
Weaver
Wow.
is who is the lead actor? I cannot remember his name. I almost said Colin Firth, but it's not him.
Okay.
It's absolutely not him. Kevin, not Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Kline.
Klein, yes.
There you go.
Plays Dave.
Okay.
Never
saw it.
Put that one in your viewing.
Okay.
It's a good rom-com.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Or
I'll do that.
don't.
No, it's okay. Well, we talked about earlier. You people. That's my next.
Yeah, that's right. Any interesting, weird presidential stories you obviously, Taft is my big one of like.
Well, he's the big one of everyone.
Yeah. Oh, here's mine. The S and Harry S. Truman. Mm-hmm. What is it?
It's probably just an S.
Just an S.
It's probably like Michael J. Fox.
And he's from Missouri.
Just a J.
From Missouri.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
We're like cousins.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He, Mark Twain, and I.
Some good things come from Missouri. Harry S. Truman, you,
Brad Pitt.
Budweiser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Budweiser. St. Louis Cardinals. Come on, shut up. Come on. They're like the epitome of baseball. Epitome in a good way.
I will say, aren't they the winningest team in the National League history?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Not even close to the American League record, though.
That's out there. Yankees are way up there. Way up there.
Yeah, I think they've got 27 World Series.
Yeah, something. It's kind of
You
crazy.
guys have 10 or 11?
A lot. Yeah.
A lot, period.
And a great sports town. I mean,
That is a good sports
I caught a Blues game with my brother recently, and it was just mad fun. Like it was just like, this is good. It doesn't matter what you're going to. Like it's just good sports.
I sat front row at a Blues game, but it was in St. Paul.
Okay.
It was the Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
And it was them versus the Blues. But there were 3 seats, and the Blues cameraman came down because we were in the corner, and he had the thing, and I was like, dude, we can just scoot over one, have a seat. He was like, seriously? And we were like, yeah, why not?
Go
and
for
then
it.
he gave us pucks.
Nice.
Like, he just had them on him. It was just like, here's a hockey
Here you go.
puck.
Here you go.
And we were
Yeah.
like, oh, cool. But they were like St. Louis Blues hockey pucks, and they were cool. And I threw it at my neighbor's dog, and it hit. It landed. Yeah, that dog quit barking. So, back to presidents, you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I don't know a ton about presidents. I do like that. There are some days off included with President's Day.
One.
For some people.
One.
Yeah, for some.
For
people.
some.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's not completely recognized. Like I think it's just interesting in the U.S. Like there's federal holidays. Federal holidays in general are interesting in the U.S.
They're so dumb.
They
are so dumb.
Like there's some like Independence Day should absolutely be recognized. Labor Day, I'm a big fan of.
Well, for the unions, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not just unions anymore.
It's not. That's where it started.
But in general, like
because that's the one day. That's the only day a year that unions are guaranteed the day off.
What's your relationship to unions? My dad was a union guy, and it was a love or hate relationship. Like there was some benefit that they added to the relationship, but sometimes like there was stuff that like he had to go picket and whatever that he was just like I don't.
Oh boy, this is a strong take.
Yeah,
but my opinion is that unions are no longer functional in today's society.
Correct.
And like I think unions should be dissolved and dismantled. And the fact that like freaking Starbucks has a union, get bent.
Yeah.
Amazon has a union, get bent. Like get out of here with that crap. Like we have fair employment practices now.
Are they fair?
That we have employment practices now but that's my thing. Like you don't need a union to fight for that. You need employment attorneys to do that. And so, like, hire an employment attorney to challenge your specific workplaces. And so, like, no, I think unions are very, very dumb.
They were key. They gave us a 40-hour work week. They gave us weekends. Like, yes, absolutely.
Huge 100 years ago.
But they've stopped being an advocate for, in general, workplace.
But also, I can remember, and this is political, so I'm sorry for any of you that don't agree with this, but my godfather's stance on it was, if you have a Republican president in charge or a Republican congressman in charge, your union has failed you.
Yeah.
Because the unions were Democratic. They weren't Republican. And so they were all formed around the Democratic Society. And so they were saying, if you don't have a Democrat in charge, your union has lost. And so I'm like, well, I don't think it has to be parties anymore. Like, and that was
right.
Tens of years ago. I mean, it was half a century ago that those things were in practice. And my dad was a carpenter. And my godfather was a master woodworker, and so it was, started out as a carpenter as well. But I think, I think unions are antiquated in today's society.
Yeah, they're a segment of the. They're not collectively at large. I mean, you have entire states that don't recognize unions, so they don't work. Where was I going to go? I had a thought.
While you're thinking about that, and while we're running low on battery, so we'll need to wrap this up soon.
Okay.
Do you know which president? There's presidential trivia at this point. Which president enacted the interstate law?
Oh, yeah, that was was it Roosevelt?
Nope. Wait, which Roosevelt?
The one after World War II.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt?
Yeah, sure.
Still no.
Yeah.
Still not Roosevelt. No.
Was it either?
No.
Okay, thanks for that.
I just couldn't resist. I'm so sorry. I couldn't resist. I was like, wait. Which Roosevelt? Because both are wrong. But I just want you to guess.
Whoever it was, wasn't there something in there that after so many miles, there had to be a mile of straight interstate?
So everybody take note.
Okay, here we go.
Next time you're on the interstate, 1 out of every 5 miles on the interstate is 1 mile of straight interstate without power line interference for emergency landings for planes.
So that if planes needed to land, they could do that.
Yep.
Yeah, who was that? And what president gave us that?
Eisenhower.
Ah, good. Yes.
Thanks, Ike.
Eisenhower.
Thanks, Ike.
I like Ike.
Yeah. Him and Mamie. Oh, Ike and Mamie.
So do you have a worse president? Oof, we may not want to go there.
We're not going to go there today. We're not ready for that.
We're not ready for that as a podcast. We can't handle it.
I do love though that when our country started.
Oh, I remember what my question was earlier, or my statement was earlier.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go.
Oh,
keep going.
When our country started, they wanted to make George Washington king.
Right. Yes.
It's like,
he's like, yeah,
hey,
he didn't.
idiots,
He
that's
didn't
what we
want
just
to be
left.
president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, we just left that.
And they're like, well, what about president? And he's like,
It's like, are you guys just doing this because I'm tall?
Yeah,
like, I'm 6'3".
right,
Who
yeah.
cares? Like, it's just because I'm tall, right? And yeah, he was tall and he got to be president. So guys, if you're tall out there,
you
congratulations.
have a better
You can be
chance. The
president.
world likes you more. My question was, or my statement, this is something I thought about. This is a thought for reflection. In a two-party system, which we are,
We are.
despite the attempts of whatever.
2.2 parties.
Yeah, right. Let's get rid of all the chicanery that is out there and just say, okay, if we're going to be a two-party system, then the House gets 50 seats, or the Senate gets 50 seats, and of each party, and the House gets 50% of each of their seats as well. Like, if we're going to be a two-party system, you're going to be 50-50 across the board on both of them,
Yeah.
and you're going to have to figure out a way to move things forward. As opposed to it being, I hate that it feels like the entertainment sports industry, where like, oh, my party won. No, if your party can't win in a democracy, because if your party wins in a democracy, then it's control and power. In which case, democracy breaks down. And so, if true democracy is going to happen, you've got to have an equal voice. In which case, if we recognize that we are simply a two-party system, then both parties just get 50% of the seats that they have to fill.
In a
And then
perfect
from
world,
there,
yeah.
and from there, then there has to be some bipartisan collaboration that has to work for moving things forward.
My friend, you're thinking from a logical standpoint, not a control power.
I'm just trying to think of let's just move forward. Like, I'm not excited about the next presidential election. I don't like either candidate or either party who the potential candidates are looking as the front runners.
Your system will never work because your system is built on logic. And like, I'm not trying to be cheeky about that. I'm being sincere.
Right. No,
your proposal can't work because it's all about power and control. Which is why, as I said earlier, I read an article probably 10 years ago that was fascinating. It was written by a neuroscientist who said every single, not only president of our past and current president, have the exact same thing every Fortune 100 company has as a CEO.
Yeah.
They're all sociopaths.
Yep.
They have to be able to emotionally detach failure from success to drive them to power. And that is what they all have. So, like, it's one of my favorite things is the lesser of two evils is still evil. So when you go vote, you may look at both candidates and say, I hate both, but this is the lesser of the evil. It's still evil. Because they're still power-hungry people who want to run what they think is the most powerful country in the world.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sorry, guys, I guess we got political again. But the reality is,
it's President's Day, so
it's President's Day.
If you didn't expect this, shame on you.
So, but it's like I'll be honest, I have never gone to the voting booth as a 43-year-old man and been like, "Ooh, I'm excited about this candidate. This candidate is on the right track for our country." And it's like, there have been presidents that I've been more energetic towards what their agenda was, but I've never thought this is our best path forward. Like, because the reality is there's a finite amount of years to when their power is going to expire,
right,
and someone else is going to come into power.
Which is why the 50%,
and it's
why the 50% Senate and House makes sense.
Yeah, you should have equal distribution.
Equal distribution. It shouldn't be a control. It should always be in collaboration. So if we're looking at true, well, we're running out of power. So,
welcome to today's podcast, gang.
Take this job and shove it.
Go Bears.
We're thanks for tuning into the B-side. And,
I guess
there's a reason this is B-side. So
I guess we should have anticipated we were going to get political on today's episode because it's, I just want peaches. I'm going to lie down. You take us out.
You get too many of those peaches, and you're going to have to spend some extra time in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, watch out for those. My grandmother had an apricot tree, and I spent a summer eating all her apricots, which she did not appreciate, but I had the water toots. What happened there?
Slips. Yeah.
Enjoy your peaches. Enjoy the pits. And we'll see you on the regular Sunday podcast at 6
Happy
a.m.
President's Day, jerks.